Hello everyone and welcome back to Tarot and Torch. Today I'm going to be just talking to you a little bit about June and the decks that I will be most interested in using or drawn to using for this month. June has already started. Today's the 4th for me, and I feel June to be a little bit lighter from May, which is exciting. I feel that at least right now it's going to be better in terms of, timing and kind of just how I'm feeling and allowing me to pace myself a bit more. So I'm excited to actually do more summery things. I have some plans that I want to do, and I just want to go hiking. I want to bake a little bit and go to the park with the kids and just, enjoy summer a little bit, because, as of right now, I haven't really had a chance to do that the way that I normally do. And part of that's also just been, I've been gardening, I've been busy doing so many things, working on my business and just trying to catch up. And there's just a lot, there's always a lot, right? But it's just felt hurried. And normally Gemini season is when that is the case for me, but right now I actually feel things slowing down a bit. So I'm excited about that slowness for the first time in a long time. So the first deck that I want to kind of dip into is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. Again, just excited about the opportunity to connect with plants, both my plants and just plants in nature. So this deck is perfect for that, and also it has that astrological energy to it, which is wonderful. If you work with astrology and you're interested in plants, this is a great one. But I love the mystical above all else. The deck is very mystical, and it connects to that kind of magic that each plant holds. So it's, the plant spirits. And I do work with plant spirit energy. I have for many years. I was a green witch before ever fully getting into herbalism. So it's a great place to start if you are mystically inclined, which many of us are. But it's beautiful. The imagery is very meaningful as well. There's a lot you can pull from for the readings, and I just feel very comforted by the deck. It has like a nice dark, kind of not dark, but like earth tone palette, and it's very earthy, but at the same time there's this deeper symbolism and element of study that you can have with the symbolism used, and the planets and the plants themselves and the animals. So just a lot to go off of or from for your divination. So I really enjoy just seeing plant imagery, working with plants, and I know most of these plants and kind of the things that they do now. It was not always the case, but I love just reminding myself and kind of having a refresher on the different plants and what to do with them. I would love to grow some rue. So this is going to be one that is really nice to work with this month, for just as an add-on to tarot readings, also just as a daily pull, because I love the colors, and it's just a fun way to start the day. This is so beautiful. The Blue Lotus. So that is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And of course we have the Haunted Cottage Oracle. This oracle is not going anywhere. You're going to be seeing this one or hearing me talk about it quite a bit. Absolutely smitten, head over heels. Love this deck. And it's much more to me than the aesthetic, even though she's beautiful. Okay, she is gorgeous. I just feel very connected to this deck in so many ways that I can't even verbalize. And it's, like, this card reminds me of things that I saw in my grandmother's basement when I was little. I don't mean the bees and the honey, but the colors and the vase and the flowers. In fact, I have one of her vases that has a similar color scheme and flowers on it, kind of, painted onto the vase. And it just, the colors and the way that it is designed, it just brings back a rush of those memories. And there was another card in here. It was the owl that I spoke on when I unboxed this deck that also reminded me of an actual painting that they had. And not every card does. Of course, this card is not that way. But the deck in its totality calls to mind something deep in my heart, from the past, and there's a link there that I don't think I'll ever be able to not feel when I work with the deck. So, but beyond that, of course, the readings are very deep, reflective. There's a peace that comes with it. And it will affect everyone in different ways. But this definitely, my grandmother's presence is in this deck for sure for me. But I love the connection to nature. That's really, what drew me to it. And there's that ancestral feeling, that pulse, of our connection to the natural world. So this deck is very precious to me in so many ways. Beautiful time to work with this. And I honestly can see myself reaching for this deck all year round. Another one that's been calling to me to pick up again is the Dark Fantasy Tarot. And this is by J. Edward Neal. And, you may have heard, if you've been around for a little bit, you may have heard me talk about this before. I love the artwork from J. Edward Neal, but this deck is perfect for adding a little touch of whimsy with very serious images and themes. So being able to still have some whimsy, and some magic, but there's a lot of depth and bite to it as well. So I really adore the energy of the figures, the colors, and because it does have a lot of elemental energy, it does have a connection to nature, although in a very muted way, which I mean, in a way, it almost kind of feels like being indoors but loving nature, right? How we're not so connected with the natural world anymore as we once were. So, but there's so much magic and occult energy in this as well. So it just has such an interesting blend of energy, and I love it. I love it so much. The way that the images are done and chosen. The creatures, it is a little bit like, you know, like a dark fantasy book, and I love escaping into those kind of worlds, you know what I mean? And also, it as a tool, it can access places if we are immersed into that kind of realm. But it's very well balanced. Like, there's these cute little creatures along with some of the heavier imagery. And there's, you know, very beautiful imagery. And although, I mean, the Three of Swords is incredibly sad, it should be, right? So, dragons. So this deck is just really whimsical to use for this month. I do try to incorporate whimsy when I can. It's important to maintain a little whimsy, especially in Gemini season. So that is the Dark Fantasy Tarot by J. Edward Neal. And I feel that I will incorporate the Witch's Oracle into this month as well. I didn't get to use it quite as much as I hoped in May. And really, it's such a great one. It's such a great oracle to... I find that this one is a good oracle to really clarify what's going on with your practice, especially your witchcraft practice. But even if you are not a practicing witch, it just has a lot of very deep and powerful messages. And it also makes me feel like, doesn't this card remind you so much of the 90s, like the craft and practical magic? I love it. It's just so gorgeous. Not all the cards are that way, but it does have that feeling. It's very folk witch feeling to me, but it has so much depth. And it's not, you know, the words are not flat. There's a lot you can go off of just from the keywords. And if you know, use the guidebook, it adds layers upon that, or you can just use your own intuition. But it's so colorful. It's so gorgeous to look at, and it just calls to mind everything that I love about the practice that I have. And that's both, you know, tarot and witchcraft practice. That one has nudity. We'll skip that. But it's very powerful too. I mean, look at this evocation card with all of the elements and the symbols for them. It's so beautiful. And the lightning, again, bringing to mind kind of that craft energy when they summon Manu. So I love this just for the colors, the the excitement that you can even feel just pulling one of these cards. Sometimes we need that too, just to kind of make us feel something magical. It can really be inspiring when you're feeling a bit stagnant energetically as well. So it's another gorgeous deck to work with, perfect for the summer. And that is the Witch's Oracle. And to go along with the Witch's Oracle, here's one I haven't pulled out in a while, and that's the Thoth, or the Thoth. And I don't know, I've been feeling a pull towards using this too, even though this is normally a fall-winter staple. I just feel very connected to this deck. I love this deck. And the colors, of course, do work very well for summer, and they do go very well with the Witch's Oracle too. So I feel the need to get reacquainted, to do some work with this deck, and it just feels like the right time. There is something about this deck that you really have to be in the right kind of state of energy to use this deck, at least in my opinion. And not in a negative way at all, just in a way that it really sings when you're in the right energy, and if you're not, it just it doesn't always click, or it doesn't feel right. So, but I really feel that I'm at that point to bring it out again, to work with it, and really, connect deeply with the imagery. I find this deck to be very beautiful and very positive, and I know everyone has their own opinions about it, and especially the history, but when I work with the deck, I'm just going on what I feel, and to me it has a very esoteric but very positive and supportive energy. And when you really look at a good, support book, or you learn kind of the different definitions that were meant to kind of go with the deck, they're not as scary or negative even as they seem. When you see words like dominion, it's actually not a negative thing. It's more about your own kind of fire and using that. And, if you know the astrological correspondences, we have Mars and Aries, so that's all about that kind of self-expression, that, using your willpower to do things for yourself, for your own life, to overcome obstacles and things like that. So that all comes into play as well. But I love this deck, and it's one that, you either love it or you don't, but it's always been a friend, and it's been something that has opened up my spiritual eyes in many different instances, and I'm sure will continue to do so. So that is the Thoth Tarot, which I'm sure you are mostly well aware of. So that's all I have for right now picked out for June, and I'm looking forward to using these. And please let me know what you are excited to use, how you feel June kind of presenting in your life, and any thoughts you have about any of the decks that I mentioned. And I will talk with all of you very, very soon.